Okay, I'm going to tie a fly called the bait fish. This is a pattern that was given to me by guide Brett Rader. Brett guides on Lake Taneycomo on Branson, Missouri. I fished a number of times at Brett on Taneycomo. Always caught fish and always learn new techniques for fishing. Brett is not only a good guide, but he's also a good teacher. This pattern imitates a sculpin, and Taneycomo has a number of sculpin in the water, but you can also fish this in other places that have sculpins. This is a very small pattern. It imitates a very small sculpin. In the hook I have in the vise I have a hook that is 1/100th ounce, has a lead head, and the lead head has been painted a pumpkin green or a green color to sort of match the head of the sculpin. For thread I'm going to be using some olive green. And before I put on my thread, let me put on a little super glue right behind the lead to hold this thread in place. Okay, this will not only hold the thread in place, it'll keep the body from sliding down the shank after I've caught a few nice fish. Okay, we'll clip off our tag in. Okay, for the belly of the fly, I'm going to be using some coral marabou. We're not going to use much. We're going to tie this fly on the profile. We want very slim, so we're not going to use much material on the fly. Okay, I've cut off a nice small piece of marabou. I'm going to clip off the end. Then I'm going to reach in here and kind of pull out some of that fluff that's in the bottom down here. And you can see what I'm pulling out on my fingers. Okay, I'm going to wet that and clip it off. Pulling out this fluff will make this material adhere and hold a little bit better to the shank, and also cuts down on the profile. Can lash this in real tight, and then I'm going to go in, clean it up here, and then I'm going to go in and pinch off this coral marabou at a length just a little bit longer than the shank. Okay. Okay, I'm going to turn this over in the vise. Okay, for the back of the fly, I'm going to be using some olive sculpin marabou. And again, we don't want to overdo it. Okay, we got a nice section that we're going to be tying in. As before, I've clipped it off. And as before, I'm going to try to pull some of this fluff out from the end here. Okay, we'll wet it. Clip it off even. And I want my thread then right at the base of the coral marabou, right at the top of it. We'll make a couple soft wraps with my thread to hold the olive marabou in. I want to spread it, make sure it's spread around my shank. Then I can go back and start making some solid hard wraps to secure it in place. Okay, for the head of the fly, I'm going to be using some grizzly hackle. The length of this hackle doesn't have to be the size of the hook. The hook here is a size 12, but I'm going to be using some hackle that might be a little smaller, might be a little bit bigger. It doesn't make a lot of difference. All we're trying to do here is form a head. So we're not going to size it to the hook. Okay, peel off a stem and tie that in so the shiny side goes forward. Okay, I can take my hackle now and wind it forward. And we're going to wrap one wrap right in front of the previous. Okay, I'll tie it off. I like to make 3 wraps of thread in behind and 2 wraps in front. This pinches our hackle in place. And cut off our hackle. I'm going to put in half hitch here with my whip finishing tool. Hold it in place. Put a little head cement on the thread, and I can finish with my half hitch tool. Okay, I'm going to go back now and size my top olive hackle, and I want it just a little bit longer than the coral. So I've taken it out of the vise and I've located the spot that I want. And I'll pinch off then my olive sculpin marabou. Okay, and there we have the bait fish.